From gallows to gaslight, developing overnight, Mike Pence, history boy. He was in the middle of history on January 6th, the day insurrectionists were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." They were yelling to kill him in order to overthrow an election. Donald Trump and the rioters wanted him to unilaterally defy the election results. Mike Pence refused to upend democracy that day, although he had to run it by Dan Quayle first. That is the history, known to all who saw it and all those who have written on it, including Bob Woodward and Robert Costa in peril. But in a remarkable moral and historical contortion, the former vice president, Mike Pence, is now trying to redirect the blame for the insurrection.
I know the media wants to distract from the Biden administration's failed agenda by focusing on one day in January. They want to use that one day to try and demean the character and intentions of 74 million Americans who believed we could be strong again and prosperous again and supported our administration in 2016 and 2020.
Pence telling it like it isn't. Again, from gallows to gaslight. The media wasn't chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." The insurrectionists were, the people there to overturn the results of an election, to ignore the will of 81 million voters and do worse to him.
Pence goes on to talk about his relationship with Trump.
You can't spend almost 5 years in a political foxhole without somebody, without developing a strong relationship. And, you know, January 6th was a tragic day in the history of our Capitol building. But thanks to the efforts of Capitol Hill police, federal officials, the Capitol was secured. We finished our work. And the president and I sat down a few days later and talked through all of it. I can tell you that we parted amicably.
What part of all this do you think they talked through exactly? How Trump wanted to use Pence as the centerpiece for his attempted coup? Or maybe they talked through what Trump said at the Stop the Steal rally?
And Mike Pence is going to have to come through for us. And if he doesn't, that will be a sad day for our country.
Maybe they talked through the tweet that Trump sent during the breach of the Capitol, during the breach, where Trump said that Pence didn't have the courage to protect the country.
Joining us now, CNN senior media reporter Oliver Darcy and CNN political commentator S.E. Cupp. S.E., you know, look, Pence makes it seem like this is some matter for Architectural Digest. It was a problem for the Capitol building on January 6th.
It is grating to me the way he continues to talk about January 6th as if it happened to him or like around him, as if he wasn't a part of how we got here. Look, the people who got up that day and chose violence, right, chose to go and commit a crime at the Capitol, did so for Donald Trump. But there was a whole apparatus that got those people there. That apparatus included some Republican lawmakers, some right-wing media, and Mike Pence was part of that apparatus too. So it's very confounding to watch him deflect and act as if this was an event in history he was completely divorced from.
It's a media problem, he says. It's a media fixation.
What isn't, though, really, today, right? I mean, if you ask a Republican, it's all our fault. We've done it all.
Right. When all else fails, attacking the media is the easiest thing for these guys. And obviously, Pence has no other way to explain this away, so he quickly pivots in that interview with Hannity to attacking the media. It's not surprising. And, you know, obviously Hannity was the chief propagandist throughout the administration, and so he's very used to attacking the press, and they both seem to use that as a way to move on.
I will tell you, the record is what the record is. As I said, the history is the history. It doesn't matter to an extent what he says about January 6th for January 6th's sake. It matters for now. It matters for what is being done with it now and going forward, S.E. So why is this?
Well, first, I mean, the whole thing sounds a little delusional, not just the way he talks about January 6th, but also parting amicably with the president. The president has been trashing him. He might be saying we're in a good place, but per usual, the loyalty flows just one way. Trump is not returning the favor. So you have to wonder, okay, if Mike Pence is trying to stay on Trump's good side, well, he'd have to be there to begin with, and he's not. He's not on his good side. And what is this for? Does he still want to raise money? Does he want influence? Does he think he's running for president one day? There are no natural Mike Pence voters. He lost Republicans like me who felt betrayed by Mike Pence for not being a stopgap. And I think the Trump loyalists will never trust Mike Pence. Who is left? Who is clamoring for more Mike Pence? So this strategy, if you can call it one, makes very little sense to me.
I mean, that's why he's on Hannity, right? Because he's courting those
Who?
folks that he doesn't, as you say, who is the constituency here. He's trying, but in a logical world, what would happen is Trump would apologize to Pence, right?
Well,
Because
right.
of what happened
You mean on Earth?
on Earth. Here on
Earth 1.
On Earth
Not
1.
Earth 2, right.
Now on Earth 2, it's the other way. It's Mike Pence, as so many Republicans who decided to break with Donald Trump a little bit around the insurrection, he's now sucking up. He's on the full suck-up mode.
Right, and what he's saying actually does make some sense if you watch right-wing media, because in right-wing media, January 6th wasn't an insurrection. It has been portrayed as, people just going to the Capitol and seeing things, and police taking selfies with the protesters, or that's how it's being portrayed in right-wing media. And so for him to go on there and to downplay it makes sense if he does want that future in Republican politics. Whether he actually has one, I tend to agree with SC. I don't see who the natural Mike Pence voters are, but it seems that he's trying to court them on Sean Hannity's show.
Yeah, he doesn't have to go on Hannity. He can retreat and retire to private life and pretend in his own mind that he wasn't involved in any of this. But he is actively pursuing a spotlight again. And again, I'm not sure why.
What bothers me most is bigger than Mike Pence, which is that if you say it didn't happen the way we saw it happen, if you say it doesn't matter that it happened, then what you were saying is it's okay if it happens again. And that's
Right.
my biggest concern right now, is that everyone is dumbing down history so much, you are creating a permission structure for this to happen again.
For sure, but I think most infuriatingly about Mike Pence and why he's such a disappointing character in all of this is he's trying to split the baby. He has said this was a very dark day
For the building.
in America, right, in American history, and he has lamented what happened. He said he was proud to certify Vice President Joe Biden as president. So he's trying to kind of have it both ways and acknowledging what a lot of Trump voters you're talking about will not, which is what happened that day. I'm not really sure what the master plan is because he's constantly contradicting himself.
I do think, though, if you do pay attention again to the right-wing media world, after January 6th, there was a lot more, in the immediate wake, there was a lot more, permission structure to say this was not good, and condemn these people. But over the past, 10 months, it has really been watered down, and what happened has sort of, you're watching Tucker Carlson and some of these programs, it has really been whitewashed what happened on January 6th. And so now maybe he's realizing that, hey, like, if I actually do want this future in Republican politics, it's no longer acceptable to say what happened on that day. You have to kind of excuse it for, excuse these insurrectionists.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, but they don't care. I mean, they have shown no interest in caring about the well-being of the country, right? For the past 4 years, they made up excuses after excuses after excuses. So it's not really surprising that they're not paying attention, maybe, to the health of the society.
Well, and I have to say, I mean, people fixate on the fact that, like, these people were calling for Mike Pence to be hanged, right? And how can he sort of, reconcile that? But it's, if it makes any sense, it's worse. These people were calling for the destruction of American democracy. It wasn't just personal to make it awful. It was awful for the country. That should have been enough reason for Mike Pence to
He knows that. and
completely disavow.
Pence knows that.
Yeah, certainly
Somewhere.
did at one point.
Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it.
Oliver, SC, great to see you this morning.
Thanks.